Mike's mouth.
Yeah.
We had a sharing circle, and I sort of talked about why I wanted to, how I ended up into the community and why I sort of chose that, why I want to live that kind of lifestyle. And someone said you should write something about that, and I did, but it's pretty good. So I've got some notes, and it'll come to the heart, hopefully. How much I did, it was never enough. And I know, yeah, exactly. It's kind of like, am I burned out? Am I burned out yet? Am I burned out yet? Not yet. Okay, keep going. Okay, keep going, keep going. It's like, oh, I'm doing so much, but there's so much more. You see all these other problems. Let's put those on too now. So, yeah. So. And then of course there's like other people are not doing as much, and I'm kind of like, look at you, you're not doing anything, and it's kind of like that wasn't uplifting other people either. So so the bliss-based activism for me was kind of like, how can I do something, enough, and also uplift other people when they do something right, and not just constantly be critical about everything other people are doing, So that was a shift for me. And hopefully it's going to lead to less burnout. So getting involved in activism, after a while, it seemed like the root of a lot of problems seemed to be unhealthy community, and the solution to a lot of problems seemed to be healthy community. So I wasn't living at an eco-village yet. This was before the eco-village, but it started gears turning, and I started thinking about, well, how am I going to change the world because I'm basically kind of single, living on my own, and like I don't really know what community is. I've been a part of, I've been in great groups with other people sometimes, but I didn't know how to like create community. So that was part of where the eco-village seed started growing. But almost a year ago, actually, I moved somewhere. I thought I was going to get into a good kind of mini apartment with some people and have a small sense of community, and things didn't go well there. And some of the activism I'm involved with is in human trafficking and some sort of human rights issues, and it seemed like what things I was doing were making things worse. The kind of judgment-based, these people are bad and I'm going to stop them kind of thing it's kind of not the, in the idea of a healthy community, it includes everybody. It's not just these are good people and those are bad people, and the bad people don't get to have community and the good people have a community. It's everybody's part of the community, and if it's not working for everybody, whoever they are, then it's not a healthy community. So I was getting to the point where I was like getting sort of stuck in this old cycle of sort of like violence, basically, and thinking that that's what got to happen. Either I'm going to do something or somebody else is going to do something, and I kind of know how that goes a little bit. It's kind of like somebody pushes you, and then somebody gets a stick, and then somebody gets a knife, somebody gets a gun, and then you get to the point where it's push button nuclear weapons, and somebody sneezes, everybody dies. So. And that sounds a little bit funny, but like that's like reality. The Cold War. That was like just get, and that's the part of the power over paradigm. That's the only way for me to solve our relationship conflict is to get more power so that I can force you to do what I want you to do, right? And then it's like I'm trying to solve a relationship conflict by forcing somebody else, and it's the only way to keep that relationship working then is to always have more power than somebody else. And relationships don't work very healthy when they're like that, because people can tell when other people are unhappy with them, even when they don't say it, you know, and so they always feel kind of resentment. That so I think. I was involved with Occupy a while ago, and there's this group, Occupied Philosophers, and one of these guys, and I don't remember his name right now, but he was really smart, and he was talking about network theory and how basically when you have a network, this is about how to solve problems with non-violently, how you can not just so that you can tell that it's on topic. Basically, you have a bunch of nodes, which are just sort of like people or something, and they have different connections to different things. And the nodes that have more connections have a higher BATNA, or best alternative to no agreement. Just basically, when you have more options, you have more leverage. You've got more choices. And people who have less choices, they have more problems, and they don't always get to do what they want to do. And the same thing when there's, it's like the market, when there's lots of potential employees and only a few employers, you need to toe the line. So that's a little bit about what that's about. Basically, you end up kind of with a hierarchy. It just naturally folds into sort of like a hierarchy where the people with the higher, more connections kind of become at the top, and it can kind of become like, the way power tends to aggregate power, you can end up with monopolies. So a monopoly is basically where somebody they're the only one who's offering something, so people have no other choices, so they can basically dictate terms and say what they can have whatever they want. So the network solution thing says you don't have to attack these nodes that have the most monopoly. You don't have to say, oh, they're so bad, let's fight them. They have all the guns, they have all the power and everything. We're going to try and gang up together and attack it and fight them and throw them down. The network theory basically says all the other nodes can connect, and they will route around the monopolies, and they will. It's like eco-villages and small-scale communities. Basically, it's kind of like, it doesn't get rid of the people in power, but it balances the relationship so that they no longer have a monopoly, so they have to negotiate, and then you can actually have a healthy community. You have power with instead of power over. So that's okay. So I'm getting close to the end here. So like 3/4 down the page here. So there was a really good analogy that I first heard from Mike Nickerson, who's at the ecovillage that I'm at, about butterflies. And there's a lot of really good analogies, but this is one you might not have heard before. So basically, when a caterpillar turns into a cocoon, it has imaginal cells, which are basically the seed of the butterfly. It's actually got some of these cells inside it that are part of this new butterfly. And at first, those cells get attacked by the caterpillar cells. This is foreign, it's strange, something's wrong, right? It attacks it. So the imaginal cells gather together and form a strong core, and they protect each other. And they basically start to grow from there. And you think it seems a little bit like it's a battle between the caterpillar and the imaginal cells, but there's a point where the imaginal cells get to big enough and strong enough that it's like the caterpillar kind of figures out what's going on, and it's like instead of fighting anymore, it turns fluid and it flows into the imaginal cells, the form of the butterfly, and that's a little bit like the idea of eco-villages and communities, and just communities of alternative things, about clarifying the form of the butterfly we want to create. So, when things are going bad, and everyone's like, oh, it's horrible, what are we going to do? It's like, well, we have some ideas. There's a list, and we actually have been doing some of it for a while, so we can kind of help you do it if you want. So that's a little bit about that. So why did I wanted to live on an eco-village? There's a saying, I can't think myself into a new way of living. I have to live myself into a new way of thinking.
Yeah.
So basically, if I want to live it, if I want to teach it, I got to learn it, I got to live it. And thank you very much.
Yeah.